I've been working exclusively with men, only men, for more than 25 years. And I can tell you with complete certainty that the number one problem I see after age 50 is not the prostate. It's not high blood pressure and it's not cholesterol. It's that men are sleeping poorly, waking up without energy, and noticing that something in their body just isn't responding the way it used to. And they're suffering in silence. Today, I'm going to talk about a specific vitamin that, when taken at the right time of day, can completely change that picture. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm going to give you real information, the same honest conversation I have with my patients in the office. Let's start at the beginning. After 50, a man's body begins to change in ways many don't expect. Testosterone declines gradually. Yes, but that's not the only factor. What I see every day in my practice is a very clear pattern. Men sleep badly, have less energy during the day, notice their erections aren't what they used to be, and start to believe this is simply aging. They say it to me exactly like this: "Doctor, I guess this is normal at my age." And I tell them exactly what I'm telling you now. Part of it is natural, but a lot of what you're suffering has a real solution. The problem is that all these symptoms are connected. They're not separate pieces. Sleep affects testosterone. Testosterone affects energy and sexual function. Sexual function affects mood. Mood affects sleep. It's a circle. And when that circle starts spinning in the wrong direction, after 50, many men don't know where to break it. The vitamin I'm going to talk about today acts on several points of that circle at the same time. That's why it's so important for men in this age group. Before I get to it, I need you to understand 3 key changes that happen in the male body after 50. Without this context, the vitamin won't make sense, and context is everything. First change, the drop in testosterone. From age 30 onward, men lose about 1% of testosterone per year. By 50, that's already an accumulated drop of nearly 20%. Some men feel it mildly, others feel it strongly. It depends on genetics, lifestyle, stress, and sleep. Here's something most men don't know. Testosterone is produced mainly at night during deep sleep. If a man isn't sleeping well, his body never gets the chance to produce the testosterone it needs. It's that simple. A study from the University of Chicago showed that just 1 week of sleeping only 5 hours per night reduced testosterone levels in young men by almost 15%. 15% in 1 week. Now imagine what happens to a 50 or 60-year-old man who has been sleeping poorly for months or years. His hormone production is compromised at the root. Second change, the degradation of deep sleep. From around age 45-50, men start spending less time in the most restorative phases of sleep. They wake up more easily, sleep more lightly, get up to urinate at night, have restless legs, snore more. Everything interrupts the sleep cycle. The problem isn't just feeling tired the next day. The problem is that those deep sleep hours are when the body does its most important repair work. It rebuilds tissues, regulates hormones, consolidates memory, and restores the vascular system. When those hours are constantly interrupted, the body is working at only half its repair capacity. Third change, reduced vascular efficiency. This is the one that surprises my patients the most. Erections are essentially a vascular event. For an erection to happen, the blood vessels in the penis must relax and fill with blood. That depends on a molecule called nitric oxide, produced by the inner lining of the blood vessels, the endothelium. With age, this system becomes less efficient. If you also have diabetes, hypertension, smoking, or a sedentary lifestyle, it deteriorates even faster. That's why erectile dysfunction is not just a sexual problem. It's an early warning sign of the state of your blood vessels. I always tell my patients when a 50-year-old man has erection problems, the first thing I do is order a full cardiovascular workup because erectile dysfunction can appear years before a heart problem. Okay, now you have the full picture. The vitamin I'm talking about is vitamin D. And before you think you already know everything about it, stay with me because I'm willing to bet you don't know half of what this molecule does in the male body after 50. It's called the sunshine vitamin because the body produces it when the skin is exposed to ultraviolet light. But technically, it's not just a vitamin, it's a hormone. And when I say hormone, I mean it literally. Vitamin D has receptors in practically every tissue in the body. In the testicles, the heart, the blood vessels, the brain, the bones, the immune system. Wherever you look, there are vitamin D receptors waiting for this molecule to arrive and do its job. When it doesn't arrive, things start working worse. The reality is that the majority of men over 50 are deficient in vitamin D. Some studies show more than 70% of older adults have insufficient levels. Many of my patients are shocked when their blood work comes back. Men who work outdoors, who take care of themselves, who aren't sedentary, and they're still deficient. Why? Because after 50, the skin becomes less efficient at synthesizing vitamin D from sun exposure. We use more sunscreen, we spend less time outside than we think, and the body's ability to activate vitamin D also declines with age. Now, let me show you what the science says about vitamin D and the three problems we just discussed: testosterone, sleep, and vascular function. 1. Testosterone. A study published in Hormone and Metabolic Research analyzed vitamin D and testosterone levels in more than 2,000 men. The result was clear: men with adequate vitamin D levels had significantly higher testosterone than men who were deficient. This isn't a small association, it's a clinically relevant difference. Why? Because the Leydig cells in the testicles, the ones that produce testosterone, have vitamin D receptors. When vitamin D is sufficient, those cells work at full capacity. A randomized controlled clinical trial published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism took men with vitamin D deficiency and split them into two groups. One received vitamin D supplementation for 12 months. The other received placebo. At the end of the study, the vitamin D group had considerably higher testosterone levels. This is the strongest type of evidence in medicine. It shows cause and effect, not just correlation. 2. Sleep. Vitamin D influences sleep through a mechanism that makes perfect sense once you understand it. The body has an internal clock called the circadian rhythm. Vitamin D helps regulate that clock. Specifically, it helps activate enzymes that convert tryptophan into serotonin, and serotonin is the precursor to melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's night time to sleep. Studies in neurology and sleep medicine have found that men with vitamin D deficiency have a higher prevalence of sleep disorders: insomnia, fragmented sleep, and less time in deep sleep. When they correct the deficiency, many report a noticeable improvement in sleep quality. It's not instant, it takes weeks, but it happens. And here's the argument I use with patients. When do you think the body produces the most testosterone? Most say during the day with exercise and sunlight. Wrong. Testosterone is produced mainly during deep sleep, especially in the first hours of deep sleep. So if vitamin D improves sleep quality, and deep sleep is when testosterone is made, you're attacking the problem from two angles at once. 3. Vascular function and erections. I already explained that erections are a vascular event that depends on nitric oxide. Vitamin D directly supports the health of the endothelium, the inner lining of the blood vessels where nitric oxide is produced. When vitamin D is deficient, the endothelium works less efficiently, produces less nitric oxide, and the ability to achieve and maintain erections declines. A systematic review published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found a clear association between vitamin D deficiency and erectile dysfunction. Men with low vitamin D had a significantly higher risk of ED, even after adjusting for age, weight, and blood pressure. This doesn't mean vitamin D is a magic cure for erectile dysfunction. It isn't. But it does mean that if a man is deficient and doesn't correct it, he's leaving one of the most basic supports for vascular function uncovered. I use this analogy with patients. Imagine a garden hose with several small holes. The water comes out weak. You can turn the faucet up higher, like taking more medication, but if you don't plug the holes, the problem remains. Vitamin D deficiency is one of those small but real holes, and it's easy to fix. Why take it at night? Most doctors recommend vitamin D in the morning, and in many cases, that's fine. But there are specific reasons why, for some men, especially those with sleep problems, taking it at night can make more sense. Vitamin D is fat soluble. It absorbs much better when taken with a meal that contains healthy fat. For most men, dinner is the meal with the most healthy fats: olive oil, avocado, salmon, nuts. That's the perfect time for absorption. Vitamin D participates indirectly in melatonin synthesis. Taking it at night, close to when your body starts producing melatonin, supplies the raw material right when it's needed. Some men report that vitamin D taken in the morning makes them feel too activated and interferes with rest. If that happens to you, moving it to dinner with your meal can be a simple solution. Try it and see how your body responds, always in consultation with your doctor. I also want to talk about melatonin because many men only know it as a sleeping pill, and that's selling it way short. Melatonin is the hormone your pineal gland produces when it gets dark. It's the signal that tells your body, it's night, time to repair, regenerate, and restore. After 50, natural melatonin production declines. By age 60, many men produce only half of what they made at 20. That affects sleep, of course, but also something few people know. Melatonin has a protective effect on testicular tissue. It acts as an antioxidant in the testicles, shielding the cells that produce testosterone from oxidative damage. It also improves endothelial function, again helping nitric oxide production for erections. And there is emerging evidence that it can reduce prostate inflammation and improve urinary symptoms in men with benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH. Not every man over 50 needs to take melatonin automatically, but everyone should support its natural production. Dim the lights an hour before bed, avoid screens at night, keep the bedroom dark and cool. If sleep is still a problem, talk to your doctor about a low dose, usually 1 to 3 meter. Low doses work better. Higher doses can cause grogginess or vivid dreams that disrupt rest. And I can't talk about sleep, testosterone, and vascular health without mentioning magnesium. If there's one mineral my male patients over 50 need and aren't getting enough of, it's magnesium. It's involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions, and almost half of older adults are deficient. Why does it matter here? It's essential for nervous system function and muscle relaxation. It helps regulate cortisol, the stress hormone that works against testosterone. It participates in nitric oxide production. Studies show magnesium supplementation improves sleep quality in older adults and is associated with higher testosterone levels. The best tolerated forms for nighttime use are magnesium glycinate and magnesium citrate. Taken 1 hour before bed with water or herbal tea, it can make a real difference in sleep depth and how you feel the next day. The bottom line on circulation and sexual potency. Erections depend heavily on your vascular system's ability to deliver blood to the penile tissue when needed. The key player is nitric oxide, produced by a healthy endothelium. Vitamin D, melatonin, and magnesium each support that process in their own way. Erectile dysfunction is often one of the first warning signs of cardiovascular disease, sometimes appearing up to 5 years before a heart problem. If you're 50, 60 and starting to have issues, it's not just a sexual matter. It's a signal that your vascular system needs attention. The good news is that mild to moderate vascular dysfunction, the most common type in this age group, responds very well to lifestyle changes. Practical action plan. Get tested. Ask your doctor for a 25-hydroxy vitamin D blood test. Severe deficiency. 30 minutes to fall asleep. You wake up more than once, or you wake up tired despite 7 to 8 hours. Prioritize sleep hygiene. Dark, cool bedroom. No screens 1 hour before bed. No caffeine afternoon. No alcohol. Consider melatonin 1 to 2 more 30 or 60 min before bed, if needed. Lowest effective dose. Add magnesium, glycinate, or citrate 1 hour before bed if your diet is low. In greens, nuts, seeds, and legumes. Move every day. 30 minutes of brisk walking dramatically improves nitric oxide production and endothelial function. Myths I hear constantly in the office. I live in a sunny country. I can't be deficient. False. I've seen severe deficiencies in tropical climates. Test it. Erectile dysfunction is inevitable after a certain age. False. Common, yes. Inevitable, no. Supplements don't do anything. They do when you have a real deficiency. If I take vitamin D, I'll get 20-year-old testosterone levels? No. You restore your body's natural potential for your age, which is a lot higher than most men believe. Final important note, supplements are support tools, not magic. If your erectile dysfunction is severe or sudden, see a doctor immediately. If you have urinary symptoms, weak stream, urgency, incomplete emptying, get a urological checkup. If you have extreme fatigue that doesn't improve with rest, rule out other causes. Thyroid, anemia, sleep apnea, etc. I've spent 30 minutes talking about things many men feel ashamed to discuss: potency, sleep, energy, and vitality after 50. What I want you to take away is this. You are not condemned to watch this keep getting worse. The male body after 50 needs more support, yes, but that support exists. It starts with a simple blood test this week, with sleeping 7 real hours instead of 5 to 1, 2, with walking every day, and with correcting a vitamin D deficiency that may be quietly dragging down your testosterone, your sleep, and your vascular health all at once. Vitamin D isn't the solution to everything, but it is a fundamental piece that too many men have broken without knowing it. It's easy to test, easy to fix, and it delivers real measurable results when done correctly. If this was helpful, subscribe. Here, I talk about men's health directly with the same clarity I use with my patients. No taboos, no exaggerations, just real science and human language. See you in the next one.